Hello, everybody. Welcome to our explanation of phenomenon number 15, the flaming pasta. Before we get to our question of how this worked, let's review a couple things. So, yeast is a living microorganism. Hydrogen peroxide, which was used in the chemical reaction, is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide, you may know, is used to help clean up cuts and bruises. Now, the candle flame part. So when fuel is heated, its molecules start to break apart and combine with oxygen. So that's what's happening as this lighter is used to set the pasta piece on fire to start. Now, back to our question. How did the reaction that was happening inside the jar affect the flame? So Maddie and Maya will explain here.
Hello everyone, it's Maya here, and thank you for coming to Gersh Girls Science. And today I have my friend Maddie joining me.
What's up?
And we're gonna answer a question about our flaming pasta experiment. So the question we are going to be answering about this experiment is, how did the reaction affect the flame?
Okay, so what ingredients did we put into our chemical reaction that we put inside the jar?
We mixed some yeast. This is yeast.
So what is yeast again?
It's a living organism. It's a fungus.
It's actually a fungus, right? Okay, so Mads,
And
we put a little bit of yeast into the water, right?
And we let it sit for about 3 minutes.
How do you think that smells, Mads? Yeah, okay. Okay, so Madeline, can you help us put some hydrogen peroxide with our yeast to start the chemical reaction?
Yes.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay, so when you put the hydrogen peroxide in there with the yeast, what you'll see are some bubbles that are going to be created.
Oh, sorry.
And those bubbles keep going up and up and up and up. And so that's the product of the chemical reaction. So Madeline, do you remember the type of gas that is created by this chemical reaction? What is it? Hydrogen peroxide is in the reaction. That's one of the ingredients. But what is the thing that's created? You breathe it in.
It's oxygen.
Oxygen, right. So oxygen. So Maya, how does oxygen then, that's created by that reaction, affect the flame of the candle?
Oxygen helps flames grow, so it helps the flame get bigger and stronger.
Okay, so.
And so I think
Whoa.
from our
So that chemical reaction. Okay, so as that chemical reaction is getting more and more oxygen, giving off more and more oxygen, the flame is going to get bigger and bigger. So keep watching the video to learn a little bit more about these two things that are happening here. Thank you very much.
Bye!
All right. Okay, so back to our yeast. So in the yeast is a cell, and inside that cell, inside each cell, there's a thing called a peroxisome, this little guy right here. That peroxisome is actually responsible for breaking down the hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. Now, your cells have peroxisomes too. That's why this cut is bubbling from the hydrogen peroxide that you put on it to clean out the cut. So here we have our two ingredients of our chemical reaction, the yeast and the hydrogen peroxide, and they are going to have a chemical reaction occur inside the jar. And when that happens, it's going to break apart the hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. Okay, so now when you have the hydrogen peroxide broken down into oxygen in the jar on the left, and you add that to the fuel, that's the pasta, that is already sort of in flames because it's combining with oxygen, it's going to keep combining with the oxygen, and eventually what you're going to get is a very big flame. So to wrap it up, how did the reaction affect the flame? Well, the reaction between yeast and hydrogen peroxide is oxygen, which then adds fuel or adds more oxygen to this fire that is the fuel of the pasta, and eventually you get the bigger flame. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you later.